into that and to lead us into this time of together during Lent, this first Sunday of Lent. So I invite you to get comfortable in your chair. Take a deep breath just to begin to center your body, relax your body, feel your body supported by the chair. Just take a mindful moment. And we do that by focusing on the breath. Deep breath in together with me. And then release. And feel your body fully rested and supported. Close your outer eyes if that's comfortable. Feel your arms laying in your lap, so you can relax your shoulders. Another deep breath in, and then release. This time as you breathe in love. The love of your being, the love from your heart, and then just breathe out love to the world, to everyone in this room. The energy that we get when we hold this mindful moment, this awareness that there's one presence and one power in our life and in the universe. God the good, omnipotent. One presence and one power. One presence and one power that lives and moves and has being in you, as you, and through you. What an awareness to hold in your consciousness right now. Rest in that place of being. Continue to breathe normally just for a few moments, and as you do, just go deeper into your body to feel it relax. Relax your shoulders. Relax your face. Relax your forehead and your jaw. Go deep. Deep into that place where you intuitively know the presence of the divine that you are. Find that place where you intuitively know that divine presence. So now as we fully settled the body, we still the mind. Just still the mind for a couple moments as you let the thoughts drift by like balloons. We're not trying to force them or control them. Just let them drift by so that we can be in this moment, this divine sacred space that lives in you. If you find yourself drifting away, come back to the breath. Just return to the breath. Take a deep breath in and then release it. So as you hold this awareness, this intention and attention in your consciousness, you're intending to be peace right now, to be still. And you're focusing your attention, your awareness onto this beingness that you are. Rest and be. So let's rest in the silence for just a couple moments. Just peace, be still and know. Peace, be still and know that I am in the silence. In the silence. In the silence. So hold this space, sacred space, for just another moment as you breathe in and you feel the energy around us. Feel the energy of this group, the energy of the people all across Unity, CSL, New Thought Movement that are holding meditations in their services today. Feel that energy as we spread this word and this idea that we are the presence of God. Each of us is an eachness in the allness of life. So now take a deep breath in. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Gently roll your shoulders, and then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Be fully present in the now moment. And we say, thank you, thank you, thank you, sweet Spirit, for this awareness of who and what we are. So as I said, how many ways can we talk about Lent? How many ways can we talk about release and let go? Matter of fact, I thought about this. Every lesson that we've done in the last year is about that. Releasing the blockage that blocks us from our true self. Blocks us from the idea, or negating the idea that we're anything but together with God. There's only one, and we are not separate from the divine presence. We are not separate. And as we've talked about, that's the mystic journey of all the mystics and spiritual leaders, is the truth that we are not separate from the divine. We are divine. So in that sense, I bet each one of you, you've heard Lent, you've been, even if you hadn't been in traditional churches, if you've been in New Thought, you've heard this idea of letting go of negative thinking, letting go of the thoughts that no longer serve us. And before I do that, I wanted to ask you, do you know why the Lenten pancake had to go to the therapist? Because it had too many issues to batter through on its own. Yeah. So in that light, so did you know that God gave you, each one of us, 86,400 seconds today? Have you used one to say thank you? Have you used one to say thank you? And if you haven't, you can use one right now to say thank you, that you don't have to listen to another joke like that. Say thank you, God. Thank you, God. So seriously though, as we embark on this sacred season, and it is a sacred season, we call it sacred because anytime that we are doing the work that we're here to do, anytime we're here doing the work that I think we're here to do as human beings on this journey, in this manifestation, on this, some people call this a spacesuit. This is our cloth. This is what we're here to do. So yes, we do let go of human ego, but it serves us in this manifestation to do what we need to do. Letting go of human ego, we can't let go of it completely, because we need part of that to function in this realm, in this manifestation we call the humanness. And yet we do let go of anything that blocks us, anything in consciousness that blocks us from our highest good. So yeah, we can, instead of focusing on the external sacrifices of chocolate, giving up alcohol, chocolate, or other material pleasures, and I know your mind just took off there what that means. Let us turn our attention inward and consider Lent as an opportunity to release the negative thinking and feelings and cultivate a spirit of renewal. Anything that blocks our way, we learned from Michael Singer, he calls them samskaras, these blockages that block us in our consciousness from our good, from who we are, creates all kinds of anxiety and problems. So it's the same lesson that we learned from all spiritual teachers. In the New Thought tradition, we understand that our thoughts have the power to shape our reality. It's our third principle. The power of our activity, the power of our thoughts creates our activity. We call it co-creating with the universe. We co-create the power of thoughts. And the philosopher James Allen once said, "As a man thinketh, so he is." And then Lent invites us to examine the patterns of our thinking, to bring awareness to the thoughts that may be holding us back. So, and actually, Lent, the way we teach Lent in New Thought, in Unity and New Thought in general, is every day. It's every day. The meditation that we just do, when we take a moment, a mindful moment, and release, then we are performing what we do, what we talk about in Lent. So imagine for a moment if you were to fast not only from these foods or activities, but also from self-criticism, judgment, and fear. What if the prayers we said this season were focused on our divine nature, expressing gratitude for the abundance in our lives? Again, use one of those 86,400 seconds to say thank you. Just use one of them. Actually, I hope you'll use more than that. So Lent is a reminder this is a time of emotional detoxification. Let go of the belief in lack and scarcity. Release the thoughts that tell you you are not worthy. So anything like that is what we do in New Thought. In Unity, we affirm that we are co-creators with the divine, and by consciously shaping our thoughts and beliefs. So we bless this Lenten journey that we're on together. Yeah, we set aside these 40 days. And by the way, did you know that Sunday, and if you count 40 days, Sundays don't count in the Lenten season as a day of Lent? I didn't make that rule up. That's the way. And the reason, though, there's a history behind that. Sunday, they consider Sunday in Lent, each Sunday is a resurrection day. The Sundays are resurrection days. So we give up we let go of our negative thinking and feelings during the week. And then Sunday, we come here together to celebrate that and raise our consciousness up collectively. And now I'd offer to you, like most spiritual teachers tell us, don't just come on Sunday and expect all of your anxiety and stress to be eliminated just because you come here on Sunday. We'll have a good time. You hear a good joke or two, and or not, yeah. But you learn to be thankful. So our booklet this year that Bill referred to, Let Go, Let God, and by the way, I pulled out several of these that I've got. Last year I think it was Release and Let Go. How many different ways can we talk about that is what the point is. The point is the lesson or the truth from these teachings are the same every year, but it's a reminder that as long as we're on this existence, it's a journey. We're in a constant classroom. Constant classroom. All of us are in a constant classroom. So the messages in the booklet are about letting go of our humanity that we might not want to let go in order to remove the blocks. Worry, fear, pessimism, judgment, shame, resentment, complaining, sorrow. Those were some of the attributes or qualities of our humanness that we let go. Some are unattractive qualities, some are challenging, and we let go of those. The booklet tells you about some of how Jesus, as our teacher and way shower, examples from the Bible about how he was able to do that. Now, again, one of the things that this context of this let go of human ego doesn't mean that we let go of the things that don't work for us. We let go of our thoughts and feelings that don't work. Again, we need our ego to live in this world. So this week, if you follow along in the booklet, you'll see the ideas or examples of letting go of limitation, stress, resistance, self-pity, anxiety. We talked about anxiety last week for a good while, pessimism again. And Ellen Davenport, who wrote the book, the most recent book on the 5 principles, explored these ideas of Jesus and of how he let go of ego so he could embrace his divinity. So that's what we're about doing, letting go of our human ego to know and to remember and to awaken to every day our divinity. It's a remarkable time to be together doing this, exploring this, to find our true essence, to remember our true essence. And again, Sundays are the resurrection day. Every day can be a resurrection day, a resurrection in consciousness of coming up higher, to remember that you're an eachness in the allness of life. That's an Eric Butterworth description of what this is all about, this journey we are on. So Sundays are considered mini Easter. Consider this like a mini Easter. Each time is a resurrection, and we know every day can be a resurrection as we raise our consciousness to this presence that lives in us. Lent is a powerful human experience, and Lent in most traditions again is giving up something. And you've probably heard the phrase, "What are you giving up for Lent? What are you giving up?" In Unity, we look at the whole Lenten experience as Lent means let's eliminate negative thinking. L-E-N-T. Let's eliminate negative thinking. In the book Keep a True Lent, Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, he has a devotional every day, and it's more of a study book if you want to get into it. It's a great thing to set aside. My thing for Lent is I'm increasing 2 meditation periods I do in the morning and the end. I'm increasing each one of them by 5 minutes. Last week I did 5 minutes. This week I'm going to shoot for 10 minutes to extend that time that I'm going in higher in consciousness. So that's what I'm going to, instead of giving up for Lent, I'm adding, but I'm going into the silence a little bit more. But you can find a way that you can do that if it works for you. Again, we know every day is in a resurrection. It's a raising up of our consciousness. John Shelby Spong, in his books talking about resurrection, he says we know there's a resurrection, not a physical resuscitation, but there's a physical there's a rising up in consciousness. So if you want to follow the way of Jesus of letting go of the human ego so that we can touch this place of the divine in us, Charles Fillmore goes on to say abstaining is the place of overcoming, is a place in the conscious man where we can overcome. We use 40 days because in the Hebrew tradition, 40 days means completion or near completion. 40 days, Moses wandered with 40 days in the wilderness, and Jesus was tempted for 40 days and 40 nights. There's a whole message of 40 days being a completion. And by the way, there's nothing in the New Testament that talks about Lent. Lent is a creation of the, quote, church, the modern church of creating Lent. There's nothing in the New Testament about Lent. And yet there sure is a lot of activity around it come this time of year. Have you seen people with the ashes? So the ashes means lots of different things. Reading about it, it means ash, dust to dust, ash to ash. Talked about in Genesis. Job had that experience. There's a Bible story, I think even Ellen Davenport talks about that. So there's a lot of meaning to that, and it's the cross, to cross out. Again, the traditional church, many of you are recovering Catholics. You told me that. I'm not using that word for me, but you told me that you are. But we abstain from all these old, outdated actions from what no longer serves us. Did you know that the average American uses about 30 pounds of soap a year? Yeah, soap products, 30 pounds. And in other countries, it's an average of about 5 pounds. So what does this mean? It means we're very clean people, at least on the outside. At least on the outside. But how about on the inside? So that's why we do this cleansing on the inside. Lent gives us a time to focus on why we're here and what we're doing. It could be a longer part of our experience. 40 days is just to get us started. So if we do this only on Sunday, hopefully it'll get us motivated if we can feel good, and then when we leave a few days later we forget, we might forget, but to take time to come apart, be in the world but not of it, come apart in your meditation practice, Even if it's just for a few minutes, whatever it is, whatever you do, if you do 1 minute of meditation, a couple minutes, add 5 minutes to it if you're comfortable, a couple minutes. So that's the thing to do to restore this idea of finding this divine presence. So have you heard the story of the Golden Buddha? So one of the things we get to do in Unity is share other experiences from other faith traditions. I was reading this week, I picked up this idea of, I remembered it from years ago, from Chicken Soup for the Soul by Jack Canfield. You remember that? A lot of great stories in that book. But he talks about one that I revisited called the Golden Buddha. And I'm going to share the story that he kind of explains it. There was a couple visiting Bangkok, and they were there. They toured the city's most famous Buddhist temples. And the one that left the deepest impression on this couple was the Temple of the Golden Buddha. They described the temple as very small, like a 30 by 30 space, but as they entered, they were stunned by the presence of a 10.5-foot tall solid gold Buddha. It weighs over 2.5 tons and is valued at approximately $196 million. Now, I don't know who valued it, but that's what they said. That's what he says in the story. They claimed it was an awesome sight, the gentle, solid gold Buddha smiling down at you. You can Google that, too. You can Google that. You can see that. Near the Buddha was a glass case that contained a large piece of clay about 8 inches by 12 inches. Next to the glass case was written a typewritten page describing this magnificent Buddha. Matter of fact, I went to a Buddhist temple in Japan, and it's an amazing experience to go to see some of this old history. So back in 1957, what the plaque said next to the Buddha said, back in 1957, a group of monks from a monastery had to relocate a clay Buddha from their temple to the new location. The monastery was to be relocated to make room for the development of a highway through Bangkok. When the crane began to lift the giant idol, the weight was so tremendous that it began to crack. What's more, rain began to fall. The head monk was so concerned about the damage to the Buddha, decided to lower it back to the ground and cover it with a large canvas tarp to protect it. Later that evening, the head monk went out to check on the Buddha. He shined his flashlight under the tarp to see if the Buddha was still dry. As they rechecked the crack, he took a closer look. There was a shimmer from a light, and he wondered if there might be something under the clay. Now, this was a big clay Buddha they were lifting. He went to fetch a chisel and a hammer from the monastery and began to chip away. As he knocked off shards of clay, the gleam was bigger, and a lot of time went by. All the monks stood there face to face with this, when they were knocking the clay off. An extraordinary gold Buddha. So now historians, as Jack Canfield goes on to say, believe that several hundred years before the head monk's discovery, the Burmese army was about to invade Thailand, then called Siam, and the Siamese monks, realizing that their country would soon be attacked, covered the precious gold Buddha with an outer covering of clay in order to keep their treasures from being looted by the Burmese. Unfortunately, it appears that the Burmese also slaughtered all the monks from Siam and kept the secret hidden, the secret of the Golden Buddha. And then Jack Canfield goes on to say, as he was flying home, he was visiting the couple as they flew home. We are all like the Buddha, this clay Buddha. We're all like that in some way, covered with a shell of hardness, created out of fear, and yet underneath each of us is a golden Buddha, a golden Christ, this golden essence, this golden divinity, which is our real self. Somewhere along the way, we begin to uncover our natural self, our true self. Much like the monks with the hammer and the chisel, our task now is to discover our true essence once again. So there's all these stories that in our booklet that talk about that, about discovering this power of, like the Buddha, and other stories, this idea of the golden Buddha, that we're covered in clay and we can crack the clay and find our true self. So how do we abstain from outdated actions? How do we cleanse our hearts and our lives? When our actions or God actions will watch the world before us change. When we change, the world changes. We always say, if you want to be the love that you want to see in the world, be the change you wish to see in the world. And remember again that Lent stands for eliminating negative thinking. When we let go of the old negative worn-out ideas, change will happen. Again, as I was reflecting this week, there's nothing that reflects this more than the 12-step program. If you know of anybody in your family, or if you have gone through any part of addiction treatment or just a journey, you'll know that that's the biggest part of what people that in addiction have to do, is to recover from negative thinking, mostly about themselves. Being spiritually bankrupt, most people that are, not to speak for myself, most people are pretty spiritual bankrupt when they come into recovery. So, that's what it's all about, is releasing these ideas, these old self-ideas. Richard Rohr says that everybody should go into a recovery program, 12-step recovery program. It's a model for life. It's not just for addicts and alcoholics or whatever the addiction is. And it doesn't happen just in 40 days. Again, it's a lifelong journey. But there's nothing that has the evidence about what this releasing these negative ideas can be than the 12-step program. So I read something this week too. So another way of thinking about this is taking a break during this Lenten period, take a break from taking care of others. Take a break from impatience. Take a break for judgment. Take a break from second guessing ourselves. Take a break from resentments. Take a break from correcting others more than needed. That would be very difficult for some of us to do, wouldn't it? Take a break from, you fill in the blank. Take a break this week, this 40 days. Take a break. Take a break. So here are a few rules in closing, from Rules for Being Human, written by Cherie Scott, Carter Scott. There's 10 rules. I'm just going to read 3 or 4 of them. You will receive a body. This is Rules for Being Human. You will receive a body. You may like it or hate it, but it will be yours for the entire period of this time around. You will learn lessons. You are enrolled in a full-time school, full-time, and there'll be lots and lots of lessons. You may like the lessons, or you may think some of them are irrelevant or stupid. There are no mistakes, only lessons. Growth is a process of trial and error, experimentation. The failed experiments are as much a part of the process as the experiment that ultimately works. What you make of your life is up to you. You have all the tools and resources you need. What you do with them is up to you. The choice is yours. Your answers lie inside of you. The answers to life's questions lie inside of you. What you seek is seeking you. It is already seeking you. All you need to do is look, listen, and trust. So God bless each one of us, each one of you on this journey of Lent. Make it a bigger celebration for you. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate you. Let go of the blockage to remove your human ego and express your divine wonder. Experience the divine wonder and awe that you are. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Ron. Thank you, Bill and Rose. And the Unity singers, thank you. And of course, thank you all for joining us today. As Reverend Ron pointed out, through the week we